Hey guys, in this video we're going to just take it one more step up in difficulty again from the last time. Our previous video we worked on one nice basic object there. We produced our elevation, we produced our plan, and we produced our end elevation of an object with a particular focus on positioning of certain extras or add-ons and sizes and dimensioning. This time we're going to just step up the difficulty just a little bit. I'm going to go straight for the hardest one on the page here, and I'm going to just fit it here on the same sheet. So I'll pause the video. I'm going to fold it up, just focusing on just that one question. We'll have a quick look at the different directions about what we're being asked to do in the question, and looking at lefts, rights, and looking at full dimensions of the object. Okay, having a closer look at this question, so hopefully we're noticing that there's one big difference to the last one. With the last question here, the elevation A looked in from the right and the in view looked in from the left. This time the elevation A looks in from the left and the end elevation B looks in from the right. So, like we'd have said right from the start, if you look in from the left, the view goes on the right. If you look in from the right, the view goes on the left. So we'll just take that into account as we work through the 4 questions on this page. But before we go and do that, we'll keep that in mind for later. Let's just start off with our sketch of the person standing here in the position A. There we are. We're standing there. There's my left hand. There's my right hand. What can I see as I look in at the front of the object? Well, I can see, first of all, this front surface right here and this front surface right here. They're the two that I can see immediately. I can also see, up top, I can see this surface right here. This large surface, with this also being visible. Now, the next and final surface I can see is this one in the center, so it steps in and comes across. Now there's a little bit of it there that I'm not quite visible in this drawing. It seems to be kind of overcast. This guy goes right into a corner here, but in this 3-dimensional question, that's all I can shade in. So from the position A, looking in from position A and seeing the elevation, I can see everything shaded in green. Moving around to here, to B, and there's my left and my right again. And this is our end elevation. What can I see? In the end elevation, the first thing right here in front of me, I can see this surface here, which goes right up to this point. What else? Well, that's a full flat. I cannot see that. I can't see them two. I can't see the top, but I can also see this one. It's another vertical surface that is standing up there in front of me. So, I think that's about it for our end elevation. Now, there's something interesting happening here. There's that one there. I'm just going to put it in and strike it off. I'm not going to colour it in the same way. There's something interesting to do with that one that we're going to see later. Okay, that surface is there. I can't see it because it's behind this one. But we'll have a look later at what we could do to represent the fact that it does exist. Next step, from our elevation, we're going to go right up in the air, up to where they want to see, which is the plan. And we're going to just look down. There's my eye looking down at the plan and shading what we can see again. This time, the first one right here up top near me is this top surface here. The next thing that becomes visible, all horizontal surfaces in this drawing are visible. This is an extra horizontal surface right here. this is an extra horizontal surface right here. And finally we have this large kind of a U-shaped one that cups around this front area here. So that's what we can see looking down from the plan. A little sketch here to plan out my views would be very, very handy, just to make sure that we're not going to make any mistake. The arrow A looks in from the left, so the view is projected to the right. I'll just zoom out so that I can put this on paper. The arrow A looking in from the left. I'll just sketch it down here in the corner so that we can see what's happening. What will I see? I'll see the first green surface, the second green surface, and the third one, and something like this working up along. The arrow B looks in from the right, so the view goes on the left. So that's going to be B there, and that's A here. And here's another little rule. The plan is always under the elevation. The main elevation this time is A. So the plan C is always going to be under A, and then of course B and C are going to be linked up. That's our plan. That's what we're going to be drawing. That's how we're going to be laying this out. With that in mind, let's go ahead and start drawing. We're going to start off now with the view A. So just what we can see in green, everything again is multiples of 25 in this question, so it's nice and handy for working with. The overall height of the object is 100, so just to ensure that this fits on the page, I'm going to come down 130 from the top of the page. From the right hand side of my page, I'm going to come in 20 millimeters. And I'm going to use that point right there as the starting point for my drawing. Now, what we need to just visualize here again is we are now standing at position A. On my right hand side, there is my starting point. The first brick is 25 along. I know that because it's all lines up. Everything seems to line up here. All my widths, if I take it in and up, it lines up, and that's giving us 25. My next one here goes in and up, that's 25, and the top one here is 50, which lines up with the center space. So the first brick is 25 by 25. The middle space is 50 and the next one is 25. So total length of the object 100, total height of the first step 25. So let's just get that much on first. So 100 along as a total length, but just to save us measuring all this again after, I can mark it at 25, and 100 minus 25 there is 75. And I'll just draw them lines up nice and keep it fairly relatively light for now. Next, the height of the first step, 25 mil. Now, right there, I get my first 3 green surfaces. Done. So, that is my front surface to the left and to the right. Front surface left and right, and it's this surface where you step back in and we can see the center one, which is 50 mil long. Next step, I need to rise up by 25 again. So it's up 25, in 25, and up 50. That's my job now. So up 25, in 25, up 50, and I need to return back down on the right hand side again. So up 25, and just so that I can use that at both sides, I'm going to take it with my T-square and bring it across. and in my center section it's a height of 50. So, time to heavy in some detail right now. I'm going to heavy in all my vertical lines first. Alright, so there's the first 25. There's the next. Oh, let's slide there a little bit. There's the next 50. 50 on the right. And the 25 on the right. Finally, top of the object. Now, everything we can see from position A, looking in, being the left 25 mil, the middle 50 and the right 25. Left 25, middle 50, right 25, and then this guy right here. This top one, 25, 25, 50, 50, 50, 25, 25. Just like before, I'm going to take just a minute there, pause the video, add a little bit of green shading in on this surface, and move on from there. We're going to move on now, and we're going to go down and view from top of the object, looking down in the top, seeing what we can see from up in the air, and draw our plan. As mentioned in previous examples, the plan is going to be directly under the elevation. The plan features two dimensions, lengths and depths. So the length, depth and height. So we have the lengths of the 25, the 50 and the 25. We've already marked in those, so 25, 50 and 25. The depths are 25, 25 and 25. They're the measurements we're going to need to produce what we can see in this purple orientation here. Now, so projecting everything down from the elevation. And the space I'm going to leave between my views this time, I'm going to leave 10 millimeters. Right there. And that's the start of my plan. The three depths that are shown on the drawing for the plan, 25, 25 is 50, and 25 is 75. They're the three depths. And with my 5H pencil, because I'm not quite sure what I'm using them for yet, just with my 5H pencil, I'm going to bring them all horizontally across the plan. Now, back onto our 3D, back onto our question. What can we see? When we're working with the purple, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 surfaces in total. These two front blocks being out towards the front of the object, and a full solid back wall basically being built up about these. The first step is to heavy in the top surface, the left and the right. So that's what I'm going to do first. That's my top surface. In line with the top surface up here, I get my top surface here, I get my small left and right surfaces in there. So let's go ahead. I know that they're all 25 mil deep, and I can now start defining that as my left, my top and right. So I have the left surface here, my top surface here, and the right one here. And the next thing I need then is I need this U shape, so it steps in, so it's 25 in. If I just start looking at my measurements, I'm looking for a measurement for here, there it is, 25 up. It's 25 in, 25 up. It's along by 50, it's back out to the front again. So what are we doing? We're coming all the way out to the front. We're going across by 25 for that front little step. We're going in by 25 again. We're going across by 50, and we're coming back out. Now, all together, we have created the view C, the plan, directly in line with the elevation with all of the marks. We've our 2 dimensions used, we've all of our lengths used, and we've all of our depths or widths of the object used, the 25, 25 and 25. Once again, I'll pause the video for a few moments. I'll add a little bit of shading in here in purple onto all those surfaces, and then we'll move on to our final view. The final step of this drawing is going to be the end elevation. So once again, as I said at the start, when you look in from the right, if you look in from the right hand side of an object, you project your view on to the left. This time we can see the yellow surfaces, these two. We can see the heights of the object, and we can see the depths of the object. So the heights coming from elevation, and all of the depths, these 25, 25 and 25 coming from the plan. So heights from elevation, depths from the plan. Now, easiest one to start with is, I think, to bring the heights across from the elevation. I might just rub off just a little bit here, just to make sure they don't cross. I bring my heights across from the elevation, so the first steps being here. The next one, and the top. I'm going to bring my 1, 2, I need this one as well, and this. I'm going to bring all of those up from plan. There's one thing we need to be very, very careful with here. I'll bring this one up. This one up. I'm going to skip that center one for a moment and just have a look at this. I'll bring this one up. I'm going to go on ahead without this area for now, and we'll come back to it in just a while. Project all of those 3 points that I have up, up, and up. Now, let's have a quick look at the question again. When we're in the position B, the left hand side we can see 25, then it goes along by 50, it goes up 25, 25, down by 50. Basically from our left to our right we can see this L, left to right. The low point is at the front of this U shape. So if we work back down to plan, the low point is here. So make sure we do that one correctly. We don't want to turn our view the wrong way. The low point here. It goes along low, all the same height of 25 up to here. Then it steps up, and it steps up to this height here. So what we might be starting to realize is that the visualizing of the links between the views here is so important. We can bring that back down to ground and across. So that's our first surface. So from position B, as we look in, we see from our left, or across and up, or across and up. And I think then it would make sense to add this extra yellow one on top. And I was just going to go checking the measurement, but I don't need to, because I know the measurement. The height of it will be seen where we can see the green surface go all the way up. There's the green surface going all the way up. I will project it across. Well, there it is. That's our second yellow surface to be added in. I'm going to take a few moments again just to shade this in with the yellow colour, and then we have one more final look to give it this drawing. A few labels to add and a chat about one more detail. Now the very final thing I'd like to do here, just after adding, I want to add these couple of labels first of all. First label I'd like to add actually is the XY line. So we just add that line in, everything just that little bit, and there's my XY line. And of course the YY line as well. And this is nice just to have them in when we're still getting used to the topic. It's nice to add those lines in. We start to see where the different views are and how they would be linked. If you want to, you can square in your planes at any size you want. Keep the two verticals the same height. You can shade in your planes and you can cut them out. But I'm not going to do that for now because there's one more thing I'm going to do after I add these labels. So I had my elevation up top here. I have my plan down at the base, and I have my end elevation over here. Final piece of information on this drawing. I said at the very start that we might have to have a look at these two surfaces here when the time comes. Basically what I want to do now is this, okay? I want to signify that this cutout exists. I can see it in plan. I can see it in elevation, but I cannot see it over here. Now just because I cannot see it, it does not mean that it's not there. It's there, it's in the background, but we just can't evidently see it in front of us. There's a way that we can represent something like that. So something that is present, but it's not present, maybe it's not present on this surface, but it's happening at the back of the object. Well, if we wanted to give these drawings to somebody and show them everything we possibly can, then there's something missing here. We're saying to them, that's it, there's the yellow surface, there's the yellow, we can see nothing else. Well, I'd like to show that there is something happening here, where it steps in by 25 mm. The way we do that is called hidden detail. So something that is not evident on the surface, but that is happening in the background, we can show it as hidden detail or as a hidden line. In this case, there's a little bit more to it than that. It's not just quite as easy as just drawing the line, because first of all, we have to figure out where the line is. Now the line is going to be someplace back here. We want to represent where this yellow surface goes in by 25. So what we might be tempted to do at this point is measure our 25 and draw a line, but don't forget what my rule was, there's no measuring in the end elevation because we've all of our dimensions coming from our views. So if we have all the dimensions we need, we don't need to measure anything over here. We need to bring it from the plan. I just said that what we could do and what you'd be tempted to do is measure in 25. Now, if we just carefully watch this, if I apply the same rule as every other point, and if I take that point, well, it's not going anywhere. It's not on. I already just very, very vaguely marked the 25. I know that that's the position I want. That's my 25 in. The part that goes wrong here is that somebody is going to try and do this and take it up. And if I link it back to the very, very, very first video I had on this topic, where the matchbox was down, the first thing that we did was we projected over onto the YY line. And what is the YY line? In this case, we were projecting over until it hit the plane. We're going to have to do the same this time. I'm going to put this in a colour so that it really stands out. I'll just pick a blue colour here. Everything that is not touching the plane needs to be brought onto the plane. So this whole surface here, which is the one I'm trying to represent, needs to come onto the plane first. From the plane, it's then taken up at our 45 degrees. From here, working up, of course. And it just happens that it matches perfectly with the little 25mm mark that I had put there, which is exactly what should happen. The very final thing in this drawing is how do we represent a hidden detail. It's called hidden detail. There has to be a difference. I can't just draw a full solid line, because there has to be a difference between what's happening here, which is a full solid line. That full solid line shows that this surface stops and this surface starts. What we do this time is we do a hidden line. That hidden line tells me there is something happening in the background. This whole surface is still fully unobstructed. There are no cuts, there are no splits on it, but there is something happening in this position in the background. That's all for this video. That's the next step up in difficulty for this topic, and there's 4 examples to work through in the very same manner as this one. Thanks very much. I hope you found it helpful.